So let's start off with GJ. Currently we can see that prices actually came back to the monthly zone. So because it previously tapped this area already, I'll be watching to see if price wants to go higher towards 160, and then I'll probably look for shorts there, since overall the trend is still bearish and this could just be a pullback to clear the liquidities at this area here. So if we then move down to the weekly, we can also see that price, this is the monthly, this is the weekly area. Price actually came down, broke some structure over on the left, and then continued to move down lower, taking the liquidity from these lows over here. So right now it's doing its pullback up towards the weekly zone. So I'll be watching to see if I can get lower highs from this area to trade it down short on the higher time frame. So this will be my overall bias. I'm still short biased on the trade, on GJ I mean, based on the higher time frame. So if we then drop down to the daily, we can see that right now the daily is also still respecting bearish structure, creating lower highs, lower lows, same thing again. So right now I do see that price is actually holding my 50% level and closing below, creating lower highs. So I'll be watching to see on the 4 hour what it wants to do with this daily 4 hour demand zone, since it has still been creating lower lows. Potentially I would not prefer to trade the longs from here because the range might be a bit tight, so I'll check my RR first before coming up to this 4 hour zone here. I prefer to trade shorts from this area down towards the next 4 hour zone here, as we see that most of the lows actually got taken out, so there's not much liquidity except for this area over here. So if we then look at the 1 hour, we can see that price is slowing down as it comes into the 4 hour and 1 hour zone. So if it does create a higher lows, if the RR is right, then yes, I will potentially take a trade up towards this 4 hour zone over here. We can also see that there is a 1 hour zone that is here which I missed out. So this area here, it is also a 1 hour sell zone which I will potentially look for. As you can see that most of the confluence is lining up around the 153-100 level. So if there are longs, I'll probably take them towards this level for TP and then trade down from there once I get bearish signals from this area as well. So this will be in line with the overall bearish trend based on the higher time frames. Next up on gold, we can see that price is still creating bearish structure within this area, lower highs, lower lows all the way down. Right now it's currently doing some kind of weekly pullback. On the slightly longer term, I'm looking for shorts of 1880 to come down to the next weekly zone around close to 1732. The bias I have on this based on the higher time frames, if we look at the daily as well, it's still failing to break these previous highs over here, lower high, lower high. This is the next lower high even after the pullback. Price has also still been breaking lows. Currently it's doing that pullback now. Same indication as what I saw on the weekly charts. So we do have some liquidity resting above these highs over here, so I'll be looking at the lower time frames for guidance on this. So if we look at the 4 hour chart, we see that these highs here were already broken. Price created and broke this high as well, but failed to break this high. So right now it's doing a pullback. Potentially if we go down to the hourly, it will be clearer. So you can see the same lower highs being created. Right now I'll be watching to see if price wants to respect this area, maybe do another push up to this 1 hour zone and then sell off from there down towards 1788. And we also have a lot of liquidity sitting below all these rejection wicks here, so this will be a higher probability target area at 1788 for me on the short trades. So if price pushes up to this area, I'll be looking to take some profits off around one of these zones over here, depending on the price action. So we see some kind of confluence lining up around the 1826 area. So when price creates bullish confirmations of this 1 hour zone, I'll look to take it up here. Potentially if price does break above it, because we do still have liquidity sitting above these lower highs and also above these two almost equal highs here, I would then look for bearish confirmations to try and sell it down back towards 1788 again. So overall my bias is still bearish on this, and any longs will be taken as a pullback trade, so management wise it will be different and more aggressive. So on Friday I actually posted a IG story asking you guys for questions as to what problems or anything that you have with regards to trading. So let's go ahead and get them answered. For this first question, yes, I only focus on GJ as well as Gold, because last time I used to trade a whole list of like 24 pairs, but after a while I never really found much profitability in it, and I was just basically just hunting all over the place for entries. But after that, when I really drilled down into these two pairs, which I've been trading for about GJ, I've been trading for about, I think, the last 7 to 8 years. Gold recently in the last, I've been looking at it for the 7 to 8 years, never really managed to trade it except on demo, because I felt like I didn't understand it fully, so I didn't want to trade with live money on it. But last year I started to trade Gold again, getting a very deep understanding of it. So my rationale is that if you want to trade a pair, understand it really, really well. Understand its behavior, so that when you know that price reacts a certain way to one of the zones that I'm trading off from, right, the patterns that it develops is quite unique to each individual pair. So strategies will work across the board, but how the pair reacts to the strategy that you're doing, it's quite dependent on the individual characteristics of it. So given that understanding, I just trade the pairs that I'm just good at, which is also why some of you that have asked me for analysis on GU and other pairs, I'm not that good at it, so I just don't want to call out trades that I'm not very sure of, even though I know that more likely than not it should work. It's just that compared to GJ and Gold, my win rate is not as high. So yeah. So for this next question, let's change up the background a bit, because my long-term goal is actually to travel and trade. So right now, because of all the nonsense with COVID and stuff like that, we can't really travel, right? So right now I'm just grinding, working hard, and just making the money and saving up, so that potentially when that flexibility comes, then I'll be able to just move around and travel around while trading. So we all trade for the flexibility of time, so just manage that well and just don't sit on the charts all day. Maybe potentially once I've managed to do my first payout from my prop trading challenges, probably a camera, I think, so that I can just travel and then take some photos and then some videos as well during my travel adventures. And I'll probably post that on my YouTube page when the time comes. For this next question, yeah, I use an EA, but not like a trading bot or whatever like that. I only have this management tool here called Qbox, which I created with one of my students. So it's a trade management tool to keep you off the charts, so that you don't keep staring at it, because we all know the longer you stare at the charts, the more it induces you to take entries that you don't have to. So with Qbox itself, I'm able to stay off the charts and then still have my stop loss being trailed accordingly and securing profits along the way without me having to sit at the charts all day. So if anyone's interested, you can actually hop onto my YouTube page. I've made a playlist over here, then you can check that out for yourself. This next question about the daily loss that I allow myself to take. So personally, once I've seen myself taking at least 2 losses for the day, I usually just call it. Like, I won't try to force anything after that to try and recoup the losses. I'll probably just wait for the next trading day and then see and give price some time to develop into the next session. So if I'm trading the London session and I see that price action is just crappy for that time, then I'll wait till probably the 4-hour close. If not, then I'll wait for the New York session before taking another trade. But if I don't see anything set up for that day, usually I just don't force it and I come back another day. So I don't feel the need to trade every day, and you shouldn't too. As for this next question regarding losses, what I can suggest is just take a break off the charts. So losses, yes, there are things to learn from it, but if you're hitting loss after loss and a string of losses for a couple of weeks in a row, then it might be time for you to take some time off the charts, take a mental reset, and then just reflect, or maybe seek some help as to why you're going wrong. So I have come across a lot of traders that actually would rather spend their money doing trial and error on a live chart with live accounts, blowing account after account, thinking that that's learning. Instead, I'm of the view that sometimes you just got to spend to learn. So pick a good mentor, choose one that doesn't have like cars and stuff like that on their social media pages. Instead, boring pages like mine, or like someone else's like Trading Fanatic, Forex with Ellie. Yeah, there are a couple of good traders out there that don't really flex the lifestyle, so pick and research carefully when you're choosing a mentor to learn from. So if you like a few more tips on how I actually manage my string of losses after I took a losing streak early this year, what I can suggest is you can head over to my YouTube page. I made a video about my own Forex journey over here. So you can just watch this video, maybe get a few tips for yourself, but I really strongly suggest just take a mental break off the charts. As to the sessions I trade, usually my trading window is pre-London to the New York Stock Exchange hourly close. Outside of that, I usually don't take trades. So because I found that the volume usually dies off, then price gets really choppy and I don't want to be involved in the price action at that point in time. We all trade for freedom of time, right? So if you're sitting at the charts longer than you should, then there's something wrong with trading, because you end up spending more hours than your 9 to 5, and that's really, really ironic. I would suggest picking a timing that suits your lifestyle, suits your schedule, because I know some of you actually work full-time, trade part-time. Once you know that, choose the sessions that work best for you, understand that session's behavior in terms of price action, do your back testing, and then you should be able to trade the sessions individually on their own merit. Just understand that price action behaves very differently in each of the trading sessions, whether it's Asia, London, or New York. So once you know that, then it'll be easier for you to take your trades and to hold them without too much stress. As for the best time frames to find your key support or resistance levels, whatever it is, just understand that the higher the time frame, the stronger those zones will be. So use top-down analysis to understand where the trend is, what the direction is, and then trade off those structures instead. They will be much stronger than your lower time frame zones. I think a few things that will hint that you are overtrading is once you've taken maybe 1 or 2 losses and then you're trying to chase back those losses, more likely than not, you're just overtrading at that point in time. But a key indicator is when you have a trading plan, you know how many trades on average that you take a day based on your own backtesting and the journals that you have collected over time of all your trades. You should have an average count of roughly how many trades you should be expecting a day. If you're already exceeding more than that and trading outside of your trading window, it's a high chance that you're overtrading. So with regards to this question, it's a question I get a lot of the times, and honestly I don't like answering it because I feel like everyone has their own potential, everyone has their own win rate and their own trading probabilities. So knowing this number honestly doesn't help you as a trader. Instead, it might make you wish that you had more, and then this leads to other bad trading behaviors like overtrading, over leveraging, just to hit those numbers that you see other people doing. So everyone has had a different trading history, a different trading performance, so all these numbers really don't matter. What matters is how much R you're managing to generate on your own trades and how consistently you are able to do that. So that's why if you look at my own Instagram page, you notice that I don't like posting my profits anymore. I used to do that in the past, then I realized number one, my FX book numbers can be manipulated, so it doesn't matter. Now number two, whatever that I can generate might not be what you can generate. So I prefer to show R's on my trade, and I haven't seen many mentors or other trading gurus outside that actually can show you a before and after, especially the before analysis way before the chart sets up. So hopefully you guys found this analysis daily useful, and this Q&A useful. So I'll probably look to do this maybe every Friday, and then I'll probably add on this Q&A inside my weekly forecast as well. If you have any suggestions on what other videos I can make, then just feel free to drop them down in the comments below. If not, then hit me up on IGDM as well. Have a good weekend, everyone.